Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. In today's video I've got two stories for you and both of them have updates. So let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user Old Cranberry 2783. My female 25 husband, male 30, says our house will never be mine. How do I move past this? Me and my husband have been married for almost 1 year and have been together for 7. I work a job in media while he works as a therapist of sorts. We have been living in my inherited home that has been in my family for many years. Over the past few years, we have both agreed the house and the location is just not ideal. With the housing market being what it is, we have sucked it up and continued to live here. Recently, we were offered to purchase my husband's family home. It's a good house that needs a lot of work, but I am confident we can do what we need to do for under $15,000 in renovations. So we are planning to move there and begin renovating. We were both happy and excited until the other day when we were talking about it. Out of nowhere, he told me, "I want you to know this house will never be yours. If we divorce or anything, you will have no right to live there anymore." And I found this hurtful and odd. This was never a discussion in the years we have lived in our current home. I would never plan on taking his family home if we were to separate, but it felt like a stab to the heart, especially when we are trying to have kids. I told him it would be a marital asset since I'm paying half the mortgage and half the renovations. I would never fight you for the house, but I don't plan on getting divorced. This made him very upset. He said he would rather not move in if there's a chance a judge would determine I had any rights over the home. Was I wrong? How do I move past this with him? Well, OP, just like you say, it's very odd that out of nowhere he just told you that you wouldn't have a claim to the house. First of all, he would be absolutely wrong. If you are paying the mortgage, your name is on the deed, and there is no prenup agreement, then you absolutely would have a claim to the house. But regarding your relationship, I'm a bit more concerned as to why he would actually say this. Yes, it is an absolutely a-hole move for him to do. But why? And on this, I think we're lacking a little bit more information. Has he been acting weird lately? Is he hiding his phone? Does he have any reason to suspect that you would divorce him or something like that? Because this is like putting a patch on your arm before even getting a wound. So at this point, with everything that you've told us, the only thing I could say is sit down with your husband and ask him to explain himself. Where is this coming from? Is he insecure about something? Why would he say what he said to you? And I would say based on that is that you make any decisions. In the meantime, I would say, sure, then we're not buying the house. I'm not putting any money for mortgage or renovations until we talk this through. Now, the other thing that I'm curious about is that this only became a problem when it was his family home, but the fact that you guys are living in your family home, that's not a problem at all. Maybe you'd like to include that in the conversation. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? What would your advice be? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. I Hate You 1975 says, "So from what I understand, it's a family home, but you are paying on the mortgage halfsies and paying to renovate? And he said no to you having ownership at all? Then hell nah. He can purchase it on his own, renovate it on his own, and you keep yours as a backup from this point forward. Rent it out and you keep that income." And OP responds, "This opened my eyes. We are going to definitely have another conversation about how we would go about this purchase." RNG Inks 3 says, "This is a huge red flag. He's been living in your, paid off I'm guessing, family home. You are about to buy his family home together and he doesn't want you to have any ownership? Here's what I would do. 1. Don't sell your family home. Instead, rent it out, market being what it is, for side income. Do not add his name to the deed. Do not use any of the profits towards purchasing his family home. 2. Separate your finances stat. Have a joint income where you each put in X% of your paycheck for joint bills such as groceries, utilities, insurance, etc. 3. Tell him you will agree his family home is 100% his on one condition. The entire purchase, including repairs, now needs to come out of his pocket, not yours. Not the joint account, and you will not be paying mortgage. If he doesn't agree, don't move in. And 4. Side-eye him. He's shown you who he is. Depending on how he moves forward, this might be the end of the road for me. And Substantial Maze 6747 says, his statement is wildly unfair considering you're A. married, so marital asset, and B. contributing significantly. If he wants a postnup, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but his time and phrasing is concerning. You need your own legal advice before you make any big decisions like this with this man. And OP responds, I'm thinking that is what I'll do. I need to talk to a lawyer, unfortunately. Double sad face. Additional information from OP's comments. His parents very recently went through a rough divorce and now they don't speak. His mother took his father for basically everything. She took both houses, was granted spousal support, and is getting 100% of the sale of the family house. He is living with his brother now. It's not a situation where we only heard one side. I like both of his parents very much, but can also acknowledge she definitely took mostly everything. But he cheated on her, so stupid game, stupid prices. Personally, I'd never try to take the home from him. It's how he said it that bothered me. I never told him our home was not his in the years we have lived here, just because it is my family home. So it seemed out of place and harsh to say it would never be my home when we were trying to start a family. Now, I might have clouded judgment because we have a very healthy and happy relationship thus far. But I think he is scared of me taking it from him because that is what his mother did to his father. Alright, well, the community gave OP some helpful advice, and in the additional context, OP tells us maybe why the husband is acting this way. And yeah, you could understand it, but it still doesn't excuse it. Anyways, let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. So, there were a lot of questions from many people who saw my last post, so I figured I would answer some of them and also update on the situation. My family home was inherited. There was no mortgage. We paid our bills and taxes evenly between the two of us, and same with any repairs the home needed. His mother is selling us the house at a $25,000 discount from what she listed it for on the market. We had the house fully inspected before she took it off the market by someone I contacted because we did not want to get in over our heads. Repairs are truly mostly cosmetic, besides a small portion of the roof and an enclosed back porch, which we will probably just tear off anyway. It really is a good deal to snag a well-built 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house for under $70,000 in New York. My husband was not on the deed to my family home. This home was not going to be sold. It is a home that has been passed down exclusively to family members at virtually no cost. So, a mortgage hasn't been held on it in many decades. The house would be going to my sister as she is welcoming her second child soon. Now, for the update. Me and my husband agreed to go to breakfast together this morning since our Mother's Day plans didn't start until lunch. At breakfast, I brought up the topic of the house we are going to buy. I told him about how the things he said hurt my feelings and made me insecure about where he stands in our marriage. He told me after seeing his dad lose his family home in a divorce, it was scary to think our kids could possibly lose it if we were to separate. He apologized and told me he never ever thought of getting a divorce, but nobody does until it's happening. He said he was wrong to say the things he did and that he let anxiety control the way he spoke and it was unfair to me. We agreed that I would be put on the deed and agreed to start the process of a postnup agreement for the home among some other things. I addressed feeling like maybe he had a feeling he was going to leave or cheat and that's why he was so defensive. He felt hurt by that and told me that was his fear when getting married, that he would be cheated on or worse, have kids involved in that mess. I told him I felt the same. We both agreed the most comfortable we would feel would be us both being on the deed to the home and getting a post-nuptial agreement with an infidelity clause. We are both anxious people and I understand where he was coming from with wanting that. It stung a bit at first that he wanted an infidelity clause, but we agreed it would do nothing but benefit us both if either of us were to go beyond our marriage in that way. So, I think I was a bit dramatic about the things he said, and he was a bit harsh and not thinking through what he said. It happens to the best of us, but my mind is put at ease now, thankfully. Now, we are both being put on the deed. We are getting a postnuptial agreement plus an infidelity clause, and we had a very mature and emotional conversation about how we felt. Thank you all for your advice. It gave me a very good idea of what to research before I brought it up to him, and we are setting up a meeting with a lawyer to start the process on Monday. Well, OP, I'm gonna call it a positive and happy update. Sure, what he said wasn't the best, of course, and the way he said it sucked, but the good thing about this is that you guys talked it through, you are on the same page now, and you were able to explain your feelings to the point where the other would understand. So, on that note, I'm gonna wish you both the best in the future, OP. Thank you so much for sharing and take care. And now, let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user Sister Grounded Throwaway. Am I the a-hole for grounding my adult sister? I, 25 female, live in a 3-bedroom apartment with my fiance, 27 male. We have a 6-month-old son. My younger sister, Mia, fake name, 20 female, recently started attending a university that's closer to where I live than both my parents' places. Because she needs to get to class early in the morning, my fiance and I allowed her to move into our spare bedroom. She's been living with us since January. There's a set of rules I've been having Mia follow since she moved in, mostly to make sure everyone can live peacefully. One of the most important rules concerns arriving after my son's bedtime, usually between 7 and 8 p.m. Mia is allowed to come home however late she wants, as long as she doesn't make too much noise. The door to the apartment has an electric keypad lock, and the one we use also has a normal lock under it. Everyone has a copy of the key, but we all prefer typing in the password. However, the keypad is very noisy and my son's nursery isn't far from the door. Every time the keypad is used after I've put the baby to sleep, he wakes up. So naturally, the rule about getting home late includes not using the keypad. Everyone, including Mia, has known about this since day one. At first, we had no problems, but now that Mia has gotten used to the college life, she's been going out at night frequently. This past month, she has arrived home after midnight every Friday and Saturday night. She always forgets the "don't make too much noise" rule, and she has on multiple occasions used the keypad. My son wakes up crying every damn time. I'd sit her down and remind her of the rule whenever this happened, but she'd continue to do it. My fiance and I got tired of putting our baby back to sleep because of that, so I changed the password and told Mia she was no longer allowed to use the keypad. She agreed and promised to try to make less noise. On Friday night this week, Mia went out with her friends. She came home very drunk at 4 a.m. and forgot that I changed the password. Not only did she use the keypad, but she also got the password wrong so many times that she triggered the alarm. I was furious. Not only did my baby wake up crying, but I also got complaints from my neighbors. The next morning, I told Mia that I'm establishing a curfew. While living with me, she needs to be home by 8 p.m. She won't be allowed to go out at night for the rest of the semester. Mia put up a fight, saying I have no right to ground her. Edit, I never used that word, like this, or dictate what she does with her free time. But I held my ground. I told her she'll be free to do as she pleases when she has her own place and raises her own family. While living with me, she has to do as I say. She told our parents about this. Our mother and stepfather are both on our side. Our father is on Mia's. He's saying I'm not her mother and I have no right to treat her like a child. He also thinks it's unfair to do this to her over a drunken mistake. Am I the a-hole? Well, OP, in my opinion, no, you're not the a-hole. It is your house and you're doing your sister a favor, because if she were to live with your mom and your stepdad, maybe she'd need to commute for a long time before getting to college. I understand that she wants to live the college experience, but she doesn't get to do it at the expense of your sleep, or your baby's sleep for that matter. If I was in your shoes, I'd present Mia with 3 choices. 1, you can move back with mom and stepdad. 2. You abide by the rules of my house. Or 3. If you want to stay out past 8 p.m., then you find somewhere else to stay, maybe with one of your party friends, and make sure to do it in time because if you can't, then you gotta be home by 8. And if she doesn't like any of the choices, well, tough luck. Maybe she can talk to her dad so he can pay for an apartment, or she could get a job and pay for it herself. And what do you guys think? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Punta Cana 24 says, not the a-hole. I admit it does sound like a bit of a power trip to ground your adult sister, but it is well within your rights to enforce rules when you are allowing your sister to live there apparently for free. If she wants full freedom to do whatever she wants, she can always rent her own place. If she's in college, she's definitely old enough to have some responsibility. Tough Dentist 7786 says, not the a-hole, though grounding a 20-year-old is not really a thing. I think since she can't seem to function normally when she drinks, on those nights, she just needs to crash at a friend's place. I think next semester she should get a house with some friends. She would just have a much better experience her last 2 years of school. And Friend Lily says, not the a-hole, and you've given her way more chances than I would have. I would tell her that if she wakes the baby up one more time, she's out. I can't imagine how annoyed your husband must be that you keep letting your adult sister act like an entitled 16-year-old. And OP responds, my fiance is actually the reason I've been giving her this many chances. A big reason why I'm establishing the curfew now is because the situation has gotten bad enough that even he's sick of it. Additional information from OP's comments. The solution is for her to listen to me and use her normal key. The keypad is only a problem when Mia uses it late at night. No one else does that. It wouldn't be worth spending money to buy a new lock or keypad. And it wasn't just her using the door. She was being noisy in general. The door was just the loudest part. Slamming the door, knocking stuff over, etc. Yes, the keypad is there to be used, but not while my child is asleep. Also, we're not in the US. Drinking is legal from 18 and there is no dorm situation. She is living here for free, but only for now. The deal is for her to start paying a small portion of rent once she gets a job. But honestly, I don't need her to pay me right now. My father still gives her some money for personal expenses, so I'm not spending too much on her. Finally, moving my son from the nursery that I lovingly prepared while pregnant to the room my sister has been messing up since January would require time, effort, and patience, none of which I have for this situation. I have a baby and a job, as does my fiance, and I'm 99.9% sure my sister wouldn't help us. I'm making enough effort as it is, and I refused to do something like this when she can easily just use her key. As for crashing somewhere else, I have suggested it before. There's always a reason why she can't do it. So the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, but they did give OP a lot of suggestions, and OP gave us some context regarding that. So now let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. It's very hard to explain my relationship with my younger sister in proper detail, but I will say that while I love her dearly, Mia has always been a very inconsiderate person. I have countless examples. She almost didn't attend our cousin's wedding last year because she didn't want to walk to the venue, which was 2 blocks away from our mom's place. We shared a bathroom when we were younger, and she'd insist on having the top drawers because she didn't want to crouch down, but she was cool with me doing so. She slept through my college graduation and didn't apologize for it. I'm bringing this up now because whenever I asked Mia why she kept forgetting to use her key, her excuse was that looking through her bag took too long and the keypad was quicker. In her head, bothering other people is better than slightly inconveniencing herself. After I established the curfew, Mia tried different ways to make me change my mind. She'd talk about not being able to cancel her tickets for Party X or about the fun her friends had at Party Y. She'd show me her developing LinkedIn profile and tell me she had learned her lesson and would be more responsible. At first, I really didn't want to have to kick her out, which many of you suggested, but I have limits. A few days ago, I heard her complaining to her friends on the phone about her bitch of a sister who wouldn't let her do anything. Later that day, I asked her which of our parents she planned on moving in with. Cue more fighting. I managed to tell her that I had no obligation to continue housing her for free if she couldn't respect my family. Mia could either move back in with our parents or continue living with me for the low price of respecting my infant son and stop complaining about it. We did have a very productive conversation afterwards. I managed to get a lot off my chest, as did my sister. Mia apologized for everything. She admitted she'd been selfish, promised she'd make efforts to change and mature. I'm a strong believer that people can change, which is why I'm not kicking her out right now. But I made it very clear that Mia is on thin ice, and the next time she does anything like this will be the last time she ever sees the inside of my home. The curfew will continue until the end of the semester as originally planned. My father also agreed to pay for Mia to go back to therapy. It helped her a lot when she was younger, so I'm hopeful about the future of this living situation. I also want to thank those who suggested a white noise machine. My son is not a light sleeper, the keypad is just very loud and startles him awake, but my fiance and I are still looking into getting one. Anything that helps our baby sleep better is welcome. Thank you, Reddit. Alright OP, it sounds like a positive update. Mia understood that she was in the wrong and she's going to work to try to do better, and if she doesn't, she's out. Hopefully she follows through. So on that note, here's wishing you and your fiance and your baby great night's sleeps coming forward. Take care OP, and thank you for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also don't forget to hit that subscribe button.